All right, it looks like we're back for Star Wars the card game. Here we have Mick on. Hello, Internet.
Hello.
Welcome back to Star Wars the card game. This is the Fantasy Flight live stream. For those of you worried, the unboxing for All That Remains will still be happening today, but is being pushed back to before Star Wars because we are ahead of schedule. So I am
A nice surprise.
Yes, much surprise. I'm Evan Johnson. You probably saw me commenting on Star Wars LCG yesterday, and I'm joined
I'm Zach.
by the wonderful Zach.
The wonderful Zach. I'm going
Yeah.
to start adding that to my name before the name happens. So we're here. This is the top four.
This is the top 4 match of Star Wars the card game. Looks like we got Josh with the Scum and Villainy affiliation there, and Mick with Rebel Alliance.
And it's important to note, going into this, Josh was the 1 seed at the cut, and Mick was the 2 seed. So the two top seeded players are playing off to make the top 3 at this point.
Yes, that is true.
And one of the more interesting topics of the tournament so far is Mick's running a Rebel deck, and it's got a card in it called
Trench Run.
And there's been some excitement about it because he's been winning a lot of games on trench runs, which is something people aren't ready to see. Looks like he flips Secret here with Mobilize and the Jedi Leia objective
Ties of
set.
Blood.
Yep.
Over on the dark side, we got Council of the Sith.
Oh, he just snagged
Droid's
the Yoda. Did you
Task,
see that?
Yeah, and Tatooine Crash, and he did just snag a Yoda. That is super awesome.
Yeah, and this Scum Sith deck is something, I played it this weekend, and it's something a lot of players are playing all weekend long.
Yeah.
The power of the Sith combined with the Galactic Scum seems to be something that's working out for a lot of people.
And I love seeing the Scum cards, getting to see some top caliber tournament play. That is something that I love to see.
Absolutely, and we got the 2 resource enhancement from Saris's objective set hitting the board there. Those are phenomenal resources.
Those are phenomenal resources. They are just pure money. Looks like a Servant of the Dark Side coming down, getting some extra blast power.
And the real money unit, the Galactic Scum.
The Galactic Scum. We like to see that guy. Or Josh likes to see that guy. Mick might have mixed feelings.
He might not be happy about it, but for those of you who aren't aware, a big part of the deck, a mixed deck, what he's doing is he's trying to get a trench run out, and he's using the asteroid
base. That's right.
base from Ferris's objective set to give Ewoks a whole bunch of damage somehow.
Yeah, he's got force barriers and all kinds of things to drop shields on his guys. He's changed them out for blast damage. It's crazy. It's super explosive, and we'll see if he can pull it off again.
All right, it looks like Mick's dropping a Yoda. You seek Yoda here. Dial's going to go up, and he's going to search his deck for the other Yoda. And, one of these things about any ability that lets you search your deck, especially when your opponent has captured cards, is it's worth knowing what your opponent has.
Yes.
So it looks like he's scanning his deck there. Should be pretty easy to find Yoda, but I'm sure he's going to take into account the fact that there's only 1 in the deck.
Yep. I have no doubt that he will notice that. Death Star Dial ticking up to 2 as part of Yoda, You Seek Yoda. Yoda dropping into play, ready to face down the dark side.
How about that Yoda?
That Yoda.
That Yoda.
That Yoda, though.
Yep, Dial at 2. It's going to leave Mick with 3 resources. And, Mobilize the Squadrons, I want to talk about that objective for a second.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was in the core set. It was an objective we all used really early on, and it's a really powerful resource if it can stay around. And I think if you're willing to run, Rebel Assault.
Also worth noting, Mobilize the Squadrons, if you're running 2, you get 2 Rebel Assaults, and that is an amazing card, totally worth it, and he's just played it on the Galactic Scum. So it looks like we are deliberating here. That looks like discarding a draw.
Okay. So he played Yoda, You Seek Yoda after refresh and Rebel Assault, so he can draw extra cards, which makes a lot more sense.
Yep.
I was wondering why he was already using it.
Yeah.
But he gets to refresh the Mobilize because it happens in that window, right?
Yes.
So that's a really solid play. He's going to have Yoda, a resource, and it looks like a droid.
Yep. That's a ET-74 communications droid and a nudge.
And he's going to hit the nudge.
That nudge.
So this is a pretty good start, right? So if he takes the Force here with Yoda, or really
he
with
no
anybody,
doubt will.
that Galactic Scum's going to go ahead and die.
Yep.
Darkseid doesn't have very many ways to prevent that, and he's just going to take the Force.
Right. With
and
Yoda.
what this deck tends to do, I've seen, you want to block here. You have Ties of Blood. You don't want them to want to attack.
Right.
Or you want them to have to attack, but not want to attack because you have Yoda.
Right.
So it kind of just sits around and builds up until it gets Trench Run going, and then it just does a glory run of 1 attack.
Yeah, and we saw it on the stream earlier, and it is a sight to see that Hail Mary to take out the Death Star, and hopefully we'll get to see it again shortly.
Well, for Mick's case, hopefully we see it. I don't
guess.
know if Josh is going to agree with that sentiment.
This is true.
But-
I would like to see Trench Run played, but whether or not it will be successful will be up to the players.
Yeah, and it looks like Josh just snagged a Leia. He's having some really good luck with that Tatooine crash.
Yeah. Yep. That's
Dropping
on
a
fire.
Saris. I'm curious about that.
Yeah, he's got 3 fate cards in his hand.
3 fate cards. I just drew a Jawa. It's interesting because it looks like he could have killed the nudge with the thing and he forgot to do it.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a big miss, honestly.
Yep.
But it's kind of risky to go into a turn without any guaranteed units you can play. Right here, if he doesn't play a unit,
It is true.
It's probably over.
Yeah. He's
but-
probably just realized what we're talking about, and might be taking a little while.
It looks
some
like
slaver cells.
he's doing the damage.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Man,
Okay.
all those 2/2 resources that refresh, but all he's got is a Jawa.
Yeah.
I'm curious about that Saris drop. Obviously, Heat's really good, Seed's really good.
Yep. You don't want to
But-
get rid of him, but
When I see that droid, I'm expecting shields. So shields kind of make tactics and Seeds nowhere near as relevant.
that is definitely true. As I was saying yesterday on the stream, I think Tactics is probably the most powerful icon in the game
Oh, by far.
by far.
By far.
But if you can get shields, then those Tactics icons, their stock goes way down. So it looks like he's considering an attack here. He's got the Jawa. Looking at his options, he probably wants to attack something to avoid that Ties of Blood hit. At the same time, as we discussed, he doesn't want to attack because that Jawa will probably go back to his hand or die.
Yeah, it puts him in a weird spot. But, the nice thing about the Jawa, it's one of my favorite units in the game. When it came out, I was super excited.
Yep.
Is, you can attack and Defender wins ties. So if he decides to block with a committed unit like a Yoda, you just pass.
Yep.
And Jawa, or even if you lose the edge battle, you just bounce him.
Yep.
So I'll be curious to see if he wants to block here.
Yeah, we shall see. We shall see what Mick decides to do. So you played in the tournament this weekend.
I did play in the tournament.
So are these decks kind of indicative of the meta of what we were seeing at the throughout the tournament day, or did you go up against some crazy decks?
For me, I played a lot of the same style of deck. There were some interesting choices along the way. I think Josh's Dark Side deck is really indicative of the meta. Looks like he's getting heat here against that droid.
Yep.
That's actually... I'm curious why he would risk the unit here if I'm Mick.
Well,
Because,
yeah.
it's just interesting.
Yep.
Anytime you throw a unit in, obviously the Jawa, you think you can win the edge battle, you can bounce, you can get cards out of your hand.
Yeah, I
But
think
a
that
heat
might have
here
been it.
Is going to get it, except for he has a deflect, and that's why he
Oh.
took the chance.
Yep.
So he's going to deflect the damage over there. Jawa's going to strike, and that's going to leave a wide open board for Mick on this next turn.
Yeah.
He's going to have 6 resources.
He is.
Huge play. Deflect is perhaps it's one of the best cards in the game.
This is totally true.
All right, looks like Mick's sitting in control here, but yeah, Josh's deck definitely is very similar to what a lot of people are running. He's got IG-88 showing, which is not necessarily what everyone's doing, and Mick is running something. He's running Jedi with a very interesting twist, which
Yes,
is the
trench run. And that's been making waves all day, all through the tournament. I talked to him a little bit, and he said that out of 7 games, he got the trench run successfully 6 times.
That
or
is crazy.
every time he played trench run, he got it. There was one game where he just didn't get until late and decided to just go for objectives. But he has been on a roll.
Yeah, and I'm looking at his drawback here, and it's really interesting. It looks like Josh drew Palpatine, which is going to be really good for him.
Yeah.
But Mick drew what the Jedi sometimes do, which is a bunch of units that are okay.
Yes.
He drew Protectors, which are
Some
great,
Guardians.
and they have shields, so those are good units. He also has an Ewok, which is fine. He has C-3PO, which can obviously cause some pain for your opponent. But ultimately, I don't think he really drew any of the cards he was seriously looking for.
Yeah.
Those Protectors are going to keep his units around a little longer. He's really going to need to draw into a trench run or the asteroid resource, the asteroid base.
Yeah. I think he would definitely rather have seen like a Ferris or something in that draw.
Yeah, he is going to get a poke here and just get a bunch of damage pretty much for free.
Yep.
Because that Jawa bounces.
And that's kind of what this deck does. He hasn't seen Trench Run yet, so he's just going to poke at the objectives, whittle them down, so that he can go that route if he needs to. He's done a very good job of keeping all of his options open throughout the day. Trench Run might be his main win condition or his preferred win condition, but
you can still blow up objectives.
He can still blow up objectives.
Yeah, and I'll be curious to see what Josh does to kind of work his way out of this. You know, he's got that new fancy Alt-Art Palpatine that we all got
It's
for playing
very
this weekend.
fancy.
It's a beautiful piece of art. And he's got a Jawa, so he's going to have a lot of tactics. And, you know, my goal, if I were facing this deck, and I didn't get a chance to, so I'm kind of sad about that.
Yeah.
But I want to get all of the shield units as focused down as I possibly can.
Yes.
Because one thing the Jedi do lack is the sheer damage capacity of the Rebels or even the Smugglers with all their objectives that basically give you extra damage.
Right.
So they're a little more controlly and they don't win so fast. So if you can just kind of stall, tactics down his shields and not give him a chance to just blow you out.
Yeah.
Obviously, Lightside has strong board control right now, so
Yep.
I'll be curious to see if Josh can work his way out. And if anybody can, it'll be him.
Yeah. Looks like Dial going up to 3, capturing. Ooh, force barrier.
Man. You know, I was talking to Josh about this actually this morning, because I knew I'd played him yesterday, and I knew he had Tatooine Crash in the slave trade, and it was like, you know, if you could capture off top of his deck and grab either the trench runs or the asteroid bases,
Yeah.
I think mixed deck's going to have a tough time just getting the job done otherwise.
Right.
So
Right.
we'll see what happens. He's been pretty fortunate so far.
Yeah. Definitely. Looks like triggering droid task to get rid of that communications droid.
Yep, and you know the protectors there can't protect him. He's a droid.
Right.
And there's not much you can do about that. But that's exactly what you want to do if you're Josh.
Right. Let's see. Got 3 cards captured under Tatooine Crash. If Mick can get that destroyed, he'll get a influx of, as we've seen, some really great units coming back into his hand.
Absolutely. We have a Jawa and a Palpatine coming out here.
Yep.
And it looks like he's only putting 1 on each of those 2-cost resources. We see a lightning in his hand.
Yeah, he's got a
So-
lightning. If he takes the Force, he can prime for a lightning on his
Absolutely.
opponent's turn. Considering his options, he's got a lot of tactics. But
has
Ties
that-
of Blood is still out, and so he doesn't want to just take some damage from sitting back and doing nothing.
He has that Seeds, which I think is the most interesting card. What you fear from your opponent here is a twist, because if he can tactics Yoda down,
Yeah.
he can win it not only lets him win the Force struggle, but then it lets him kill Yoda with the Force Lightning if he wants to.
Right. Mick looking at the discard pile, as we were saying yesterday, probably a mark of a good player to look at discard piles often.
Absolutely.
Do it often. Look at your own too.
Yeah, I mean, by turn 2 or 3 of a game, you should be able to pretty much know all, if not most, of your opponent's deck.
Yeah.
So there's no reason for surprises. Seeing what's in the discard pile and just analyzing the situation. You don't play this long and come this far to get some weird thing that catches you up.
Yeah.
Beautiful play here by Mick. He's going to block with both Shield and Yoda.
Yep.
Which means he's actually going to get a tactics down Palpatine. But
Yep.
twist.
And-
Oh, ouch.
Oh,
That's what you don't want.
That is a good twist.
That was heat and it
And
was
Seeds of Decay.
which is just brutal.
Yep. I bet Josh is not happy about that.
Yeah, and he's going to save that lightning. And you
Yeah.
know the problem here again, he's going to get that Jawa back, but he's not going to be able to get the Force, which means those resources aren't going to reset.
Yep.
And he's not going to get a lightning.
Yeah, that could have worked out much better for Josh than it did.
Yeah, and you know he's got Palpatine on the board, which is going to be good.
Yeah.
And he really needs probably one more turn. Sith over the weekend, it's very, very common to see them be down on board control like this, and in 1 or 2 turns just have total control.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful of your Mick, and there's a lot of cards, especially in like Mobilize, Leia's Objective, that don't do too much as far as winning you the game. They have a lot of utility cards, so we'll see what he draws.
Yep. He gets some tactics. He could easily focus down Palpatine and make sure that he won't refresh on the next round, which would be
That'd be a very noble goal.
a noble goal.
All right.
Looks like he does have Trench Run in his hand, as well as Ferris. 2
lot of
Trench
Ewoks.
Runs, actually. Some Ewoks, an X-Wing. No Asteroid Base, though, so no way to turn all those shields into blast damage.
Yeah, Asteroid Base is a phenomenal card.
Yes.
FFG spoiled the Ferris Olin Objective set a while back, and as soon as I saw his whole set, I'm a sucker for event cancel.
Yeah.
And then